The latest research in neuroplasticity tells us we're not hardwired to be a certain way for the rest of our lives. The latest research in epigenetics says we're not doomed by our genes, that in fact we're marvels of adaptability and change. So as a person started to contemplate and think about, who do I want to be when I open my eyes? What would it be like to be happy? What would it be like to live a new life? The frontal lobe is looking out into the landscape of the entire brain because it has connections to the entire neocortex, and it's got to resolve the problem. So it starts calling up different networks of neurons that are relevant to the question based on the knowledge the person learns or the experiences that they had, and it begins to seamlessly piece together this new understanding, and that's called intention. And so if you're reading a book about how to become more happy, or if you're reading a book on how to be a leader in your life, or you're studying the process, every time you learn something new, you add new connections to your brain. So now you have raw materials for you to imagine even more. The act of mentally rehearsing begins to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like it's already happened. Now, the brain is typically a record of the past, but the moment we install the neurological hardware, it becomes a map to the future. And you keep doing that, the hardware becomes a software program, which means you start thinking like a genius. You start acting like a happy person because there's no mystery there, because you installed the circuits. And then these people didn't wait for their wealth or their health to feel gratitude and to feel empowered or to feel love, a love for life. They began to feel those emotions ahead of the experience. And their body, as the unconscious mind, doesn't know the difference between the experience in their life that creates the emotion and their emotion that they're creating by thought alone. The body's believing it's living in the future, in the present moment. And the stronger the emotion that they felt, the more they're going to pay attention to the thoughts they're thinking. And now all of a sudden, they're changing their biology from living in the past present reality to living in the future present reality. And I was so intrigued by this process that I went back to school to study neuroscience, because it was the answer. In the internal process of rehearsing and imagining, they had long moments where they lost track of time and space, where when they opened their eyes, they thought it was maybe 15, 20 minutes later, and it was an hour and 15 minutes later. When we get into the present moment, there's a moment where you lose track of yourself. You forget about yourself. And only in the present moment do you have access, according to the quantum model of reality, to other possibilities. And when you're truly in the present moment, the generous present moment, that's the moment then that you are no longer living in the familiar past or the predictable future. And in order for us to change, I realized that we have to get beyond our environment. And what's our environment made of? People, husbands, kids, bosses, objects, things, places. You got to get beyond your emotions, your body, your pain, your disease. And you got to get beyond this concept of linear time. So when we get beyond our body, our environment, and time, we become pure consciousness. And now that consciousness can begin to connect to the consciousness of the field. And all of a sudden I realized that when people are nobody, no one, no thing, no where, and no time, that's the moment. They're no longer a face, they're no longer a culture, they're no longer a skin color, they're no longer a mother, they're no longer a grandmother, no longer a doctor or an attorney, they're no longer a nurse, they're pure consciousness. And that is the element that we begin to connect to something greater.
I love vision boards. I think they are so amazing. I find that every year that I've made them, it's helped me keep my goals in mind and how I want to feel, what I want to experience, what I want to do, and putting it somewhere in your room or your house where you are going to look at it every day is just really, really good. You see it and you think about it and you think about what it would feel like to have those things and experience those things. I try to start like tricking my mind and body into thinking I already have it, so I already know what it feels like, and then that's when it can be called in, and you can call in different experiences and different things to kind of experience or go through in order to grow, to achieve, and be worthy of the things you want to call into. So I think a lot of growth comes from vision boards, especially if your goals are pretty big. I think it's good to have at least a few goals or pictures or images for your health, for your career, for your love life, family, friends, and then just like things you want to do and experience, and just like quotes that you like too that you can read every day. It was perfect. I found these little butterfly mirrors so I can like see myself in my vision board, and I just think that's gonna be really cool. I love setting an intention while I'm doing it, making my space safe and comfortable, and it's a really fun craft to do. I try and pay attention throughout the year to see if any of the things happening are things I had on my vision board, and every year the things I had on there, like, they did happen, and almost like to a T of the pictures that I had, which is so cool. Yeah, it's just a really fun thing to do, and if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It means so much to me, and I will see you in the next video.